I was in my early 20s when I experienced my first creative block. Creating has always been a part of my life, but I was going through a very traumatizing event that disrupted my entire life. As we go through life, we collect experiences that we use to develop deep rooted beliefs about ourselves and the world around us. But trauma of any kind has the power to shatter and challenge our beliefs. During that time, I wanted to paint so badly, but couldn't. Anxiety emerged and grew because I had no outlet for my creativity. I honestly thought that my creativity was lost. Painting was always what I turned to after a life-changing event, but this time around, I couldn't access my creativity. I felt paralyzed and hopeless. I was in a season where trauma stifled my creativity. I would get sparks of inspiration from time to time, but then I'd feel stuck again. It can be a scary feeling when you think your creativity has vanished. I couldn't paint for a whole year and didn't have anyone to talk to about what was going on in my life, let alone how it was affecting my creativity. I fell into a deep depression and it seemed like no one around me noticed it. I felt unseen. Nothing is more isolating as being in pain and unable to talk about it. Trauma took me to isolation, which can be a dangerous place, but it also took me to a rare place with just myself. I soon understood that being alone doesn't have to be the same thing as being lonely. I spent a lot of time daydreaming and hearing my imagination speak. Although I couldn't paint, I journaled a lot, read a lot of books, and listened to a lot of music. I also roamed around the city, exploring different botanical gardens, parks, bookstores, and poetry lounges. I didn't know it at that time, but those moments of solitude were very helpful in overcoming the feeling of being stuck. I was able to reflect on experiences in ways that pushed me through my creative blocks. Solitude was an opportunity for greater self-awareness and creativity. Soon enough, I was able to paint again and created a body of work that I will always cherish. My work felt more personal and alive. I credit solitude for reigniting my creativity because it refueled my soul. Looking back, I realized my life circumstance often gave away important indicators about my creativity. I had to learn how to allow my creative blocks to take me on a journey of releasing repressed emotions. Holding on to unprocessed emotional pain can feel overpowering. It can feel so big that you might barely be able to think, let alone create. It becomes easy to act from anxiety, which in turn keeps you spinning around the edges of your creativity. I don't know about you, but when my emotions and creativity are in sync, it feels like I'm mentally in control of my creativity and it gives me hope. But when I'm feeling anything but inspired, I find myself feeling doubtful about my creations, and of course, that pesky inner critic appears. But because I've been through this multiple times, I can tell when unresolved emotions is interfering with my creativity. Because that's when I seek outside validation about my work and start focusing on getting it all right. However, having a journaling practice is very effective in breaking old patterns because it gives you a safe space to release the toxic thoughts that might be taking up creative space. I'm not afraid of creative blocks anymore because I now know it means a big breakthrough is happening. A key lesson that I've learned is that when you have unhealed trauma from the past, current challenges can bring up old anxieties that don't belong in the present. As frustrating as it may be, I see creative blocks as an opportunity to transform. So instead of focusing on the outcome, I mindfully follow the strokes of my brush and give my colors freedom and space to unfold. I keep in mind that to create means to transform, play, and enjoy. I also find it helpful to experiment with different forms of arts or explore different styles, color palettes, or medium, because as you experiment, you'll start to notice what feels energizing. So create for yourself and do it joyfully. If you would like to learn more about building self-confidence, check out this video right here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and click the notification bell button so that you don't miss out on upcoming videos. Remember that self-awareness is the starting point. See you soon.